It's just kind of a rainy day here at the trailer storage yard. Haven't been to the trailer for a while, so I like to come back and check a few things, make sure there's no leaks, make sure the tires are fine. Today's primary mission is to replace the moisture absorbers. Last time I was here, I think they were about half full, so we might be ready for a change. First thing I'm going to do is check the tire pressures. Some people like to leave their stabilizer jacks out while they're parked. I don't personally like to do that. One problem if you do that is if you have your stabilizer jacks out, they're not meant to really hold the weight of your vehicle. As the tires slowly deflate from just sitting, you will put more and more pressure on those jacks, and you could bind them up or maybe cause a problem with your frame potentially. So I'm just going to check these pressures. That's at 71. I'll probably top those off to 75. That's where I usually run them. Check this one real quick. I also have some tire protectant I might put on these tires. It's just a UV protectant. This is my Black & Decker tire inflator. It's a pretty good little unit. It uses the same batteries that my drill uses and my yard equipment. So it's a 20-volt system. It also has ability to plug into power if you have that available. But you just set the pressure, it stops automatically. We'll set these to 75. And it doesn't inflate super fast, but it gets the job done. So you can see we're at 71.5. Let's get this up to 75 and let it do its thing here. You will see pressure loss just due to temperature. As the colder temperature set in, you will see your pressures drop. And then we will... You might be wondering what these little black plastic things are here. These are a little device that I was designed and had my son 3D print. It stabilizes that rubber stem when you're driving on the freeway. These tires are rotating at 60 miles an hour. This thing has a tendency to want to bend outward and then also bend backwards from the wind as it spins around, and that puts stress on the rubber. And I've heard stories online about people who have lost their TPS system as it just broke that stem off and had a total tire deflation on the road. So what this does, it's just a piece of plastic with some double-sided sticky tape, sticks down to the rim and then stabilizes this so that it can't move outward or backwards or anything. So it hopefully will protect that stem for a long time. This is the tire protector that I use. It's called Rubber Care. It's ceramic. It's for conditioning and protecting your tires and other rubber things on your vehicles. It's by Aero Cosmetics. Pretty easy to use. You got to clean the tire first, and they recommend using this product or something like it. This is just their standard wash, wax all, cleans and protects. You spray it on, wipe it off. Pretty easy. This is what I use on the trailer when I'm doing a waterless wash on it. So let's go do that. So this is, again, just the wash, wax all. I spray that on. It doesn't hurt anything. You can even do the rim a little bit if you want. Gives that a little bit of a shine. So just spray that on real good. Then you just wipe it off. And this by itself does offer a little bit of UV protection. I use it on my dashboard in my car. Even use it on the leather seats. It's good for just about anything, really. Get that rim a little bit cleaner there. But it does give it a little bit of water beating properties. Makes things shine pretty good. Again, it's really easy to use. Biodegradable, all the good stuff. Okay. Let that work its way in there, let that dry for a little bit. It's gonna be tough today since it's raining, but we'll do the best we can do. I'm not super worried about UV here in the wintertime. It's cloudy most of the time here in the Northwest for these months during the wintertime, but I figure any little bit helps. protect the tires, keep them as nice as possible for as long as possible. I mean, they say you should replace tires after 5 years, regardless of mileage. So I'm going on this will be year 3 coming up into. So again, now the tire's clean the rim. Now we just take this on and we spray it right on the tire. Yeah, a little overspray is not a big deal. Get it on there real good. Ooh. And for the other side. Spray that on. You gotta let this soak for 10 minutes, it says. I'm really cutting it closer on the bottom. Holy cow. Again, I got it on the rim, but it won't hurt anything. I use this on my car tires too. It gives it kind of a nice matte appearance, not super shiny, not super wet looking. Just makes it a nice nice matte black. Looks nice and clean. So we'll let that soak in there for 10 minutes, and then we'll come back and we wipe it with damp cloth and then polish it off with the dry cloth, and we'll be all set. Okay, I'm checking the moisture absorbers. I like to keep one moisture absorber in each compartment, and then I also keep a couple in the sink inside the trailer, just to pick up any moisture that develops inside the trailer, try to prevent any kind of mold or any sort of bad effects from moisture collecting on the inside of the trailer, condensation or just getting into the fabrics and things. So again, I put these color-coded things on my trailer keys. The blue one is for water tanks and for the shower compartment. The black one's for the battery compartment, and this white one is for the compartments here. So here's my moisture absorber right here, and it's not too bad. I'm probably going to just replace it, so I don't have to worry about it. I like to keep, anytime I got the moisture absorbers in place, I like to keep them in something that's watertight, just in case they do overflow. This liquid is not the easiest to clean up once it gets out of the container. So I do keep them in a something that will collect the water if necessary. These are what I use. They're similar to Damp Rid, and I think there's one called Dry Z Air. These are just Vac Plus. They work pretty good. Really easy to use. You just pull off the top, remove the oil strip, put the top back on, just like that, and you're ready to go. Just pop that back in so just pop that back in the trailer, make sure it's nice and level. Looks pretty good in there. And lock it back up. Here's the main front compartment. Here I keep it inside this bucket. Pull that out of there. Let's see how this one looks. Again, that's not, there's a lot left there. I'm going to replace it anyway. So, got the new one. Let's kind of nestle it down inside the bucket so it sits nice and flat. Just throw that in there off to the side. And then slide that right back in there. Easy peasy. And lock it back up. We're heading into the coldest months of the year here. So, better safe than sorry on these. They're pretty cheap. You can get them like $2 or $3 a piece. All right, last compartment. Again, not too bad, but we're just going to replace them. These aren't too expensive. I mean, you can buy them in packs of 12 or 16. I think it works out to be about $2 or $3 a piece. So here's the moisture absorbers I have in the tray. Oh, that one's really full. Yeah, that one definitely needs to be replaced. Let's see how this one looks. Well, that was not bad at all. Maybe we won't replace that one. But definitely going to replace this one. Okay, like I said, that one's not too bad. Here we got a new one, nice and fresh. Again, put them in something waterproof so they get knocked over, or if they leak, you've got it contained in something. This wouldn't be too bad because it would just go into the sink. But definitely don't want to let that liquid get anywhere where it shouldn't be. Another thing you should check is the level of your antifreeze in your toilet. That looks pretty good. You can tell it's come down a little bit just from that ring. I'll probably top that off a little bit before we leave today. I just use this Prestone waterline antifreeze. RVs and boats and home if you need to. It's ready to use. I just, rather than trying to, sometimes if I try to pour it directly out of this, it kind of spills. So what I generally do is I just put it into another cup and then take that inside to fill my drains or my toilet as needed. Okay, it's been about 15 minutes since we sprayed these down. Now I just need to wipe them with a damp towel and then dry them with a dry towel. Again, it's raining and cold here. It's going to be tough to get this dry, but it'll be fine. Wipe off that excess off the rim here. But it's hard to see, but it makes it just kind of a nice matte gloss to it, or matte shine to it. It's not super glossy. Pretty nice. And that's it. I'm gonna do the next one. There are a bunch of different tire treatments. 303 brand makes one. I like the Aero Cosmetic products. They've worked well for me in the past. They're readily available and easy to use. I have heard people say that if you're going to use a product like this, it's better to have something that's water-based, just because it doesn't tend to build up on the surface over time. I don't know if that's true or not. But like I say, these have always worked for me. I haven't really had a problem. And these tires are only 2 years old, so I'm not going to know if they really worked until 3 years from now. These points on my sway bars tends to get a little rusty, so every once in a while I hit it with a shot of Corrosion X just to get that in there. It helps protect that. I'll come back and wipe that off with a rag. Let's use this rag. So yeah, just kind of helps protect it, keeps it from rusting too bad. See, this one's quite a bit worse. Get in there. Wipe off the excess. Yeah. And not that that's going to do any structural damage to that. It would take a long time to make that structural damage, but you might as well keep the rust from developing if you can. Maybe a little bit helps. I do like to make sure that the hitch stays lubricated even when we're not using it. So I use a little bit of this product. It's called Corrosion X. Kills rust and corrosion, safe from electronics, world's greatest lubricant. I just spray a little bit on the pivot points. You can see that. Just a little bit right in there. And then get a little bit down in there. It'll find its way to someplace important. Just kind of operate that a couple times. And then down here, I like to put a little bit of grease down here inside the ball coupler here. So I just put a little bit of this. This is all-purpose marine grease, waterproof. Usually I'd say turn your head and cough, but we're going to just put that right up in there. And make sure you get it on all the surfaces where the ball will contact it. This again just keeps rust from building up. It keeps the whole coupler nice and smooth, so you don't wear the chrome off your hitch ball. And again, not the prettiest job in the world, but important to do nonetheless. kind of a mess. You can see that's pretty greasy up in there. Yeah, try to get all parts, even the part of the locking mechanism there. Make sure you get some good coat of grease on that, and that's it. Well, in an interesting turn of events, it appears that this fan might be leaking somehow. There's a little bit of water on this fan blade up here. And I don't know how that would happen. Look, there's some water drops, right? Some water drops right there. Oh boy. This is interesting. Not what you want to find out 20 minutes before a football game comes on. Yeah, that is dripping. What's going on there? We better investigate. This is not good. Yeah, this here seems to be dry all the way around. But yeah, this is definite water coming in right here. Looks like I got the ladder out and go visit the roof. Interesting. I've already taken the screen off. I got to take this fan blade down by removing that screw in the middle of the fan blade there. So I'm just looking up here. I don't see anything that's cracked. I don't. There's the water coming. It's right on top of there. So where is that coming from? There's another drip way up there. Yeah, so it's coming from someplace high up. Maybe might have just been wind driven. We did have a little bit of rain with some wind yesterday. Like I say, it wasn't like a ton of water. There might be a slight crack right there. You can see that. Oh, the joy of ownership. Yeah, gasket's in good shape. Well, I guess I'll go up and take a look. So the gasket looks okay all the way around. Yeah, but you can see the water is up on top right there. So it's not like it's not a leak down here. So all of these things are fine. The water is up on top. So it's got to be from coming on top, and I'm guessing it's coming from a crack in the skylight and dripping right there. I don't know if you can see that, but it looks like there might be a little crack right there where that bracket attaches to the skylight. I've replaced the front skylight twice due to that location cracking and that bracket breaking off. Supposedly it's related to lubricant that's used in the motor for that lift arm. Apparently weakens the plastic. So I may be needing a new skylight here. I mean, the last time I had one of these break, I contacted my Airstream dealer and they said they would get back to me. And they never did. I'm gonna get the ladder and come around and look at the other side of that. So coming around to this side, yeah, there's a crack right there. So what I'm gonna have to do is, I have a little bit of silicone and I will put that over the crack for now. And let's get a new skylight. Interesting. This is why it's important to check on your trailer, because you never know what could happen when it's just sitting here unattended for weeks and weeks. So one thing like I said, I've had a problem with this bracket breaking off of the skylight on my front skylight. Never had that problem with the back. And I don't know if you see this. There's a rain sensor in here someplace. I think it's up on top. But if that gets any moisture on it, then this thing wants to automatically close. Or if you hit the power, if you turn it off when it's open, it'll close. And it puts a lot of torque, pulls down very hard on this skylight. So I tend to only close it manually. And I just close it until till it's resistance. Normally, if this were to close by itself, it would do another 1/8 of a turn or so. It puts a lot of stress on this bracket, and it pulls down on this thing. This material, actually, this polycarbonate, is very brittle. But yeah, you can see that crack right there. And it was just dripping a little bit through there, building up, dripping down here, and then dropping down on the floor. There's the crack. We'll dry it off real good here, best we can in the wet conditions that we have today. Let's hit that with some caulking. Squish it down in there good. I'm going to cover that with some duct tape just to try to seal it as much as possible. Okay, so I got that on there. I'm going to put a piece of duct tape right here. Gently fold that over. Get it to seal around that. And then I'm going to put one more piece up above it just to help give it a little bit more protection. I don't want that silicone to erode off of there if it starts raining hard today. So hopefully that will take care of the leak until we come back with a new skylight. All right. Again, the crack's right about there. I've got the silicone on it. I've put that little piece of plastic on there. And then I duct taped over that. So that should definitely hold it for a bit. Initially, I thought it was going to be one of these things because, as I mentioned, these things have kind of lifted up here. You can kind of see how those lift up a little bit. I thought maybe I was getting a leak there. But once I opened it, I could tell the water was coming from a point higher than that. So, yeah, interesting. But I guess not entirely unexpected. I've replaced 2 skylights in the front. I guess we got pretty good mileage out of this one. Yeah, this skylight I've had to replace twice due to cracks. And again, the official explanation that I've heard is that this motor mechanism has some sort of a lubricant in it that, as it's off-gassing, causes that metal, or causes that plastic to become brittle where the bracket arm attaches to it. This one I replaced twice. And part of the reason that this one could be is because I generally keep this closed, and that whatever that off-gassing is could be building up in there, so I'm going to leave that open just a little bit. So coming back to this one, I've dried up all the moisture that was up above there. This you can see the red light blinking there. I think that means it detected rain from the outside when that was open. Again, I don't like to put too much pressure on this one, so I generally tighten them by hand and don't let the auto closure ever happen. Then you can see where I got the duct tape there. There's the caulkings up there. And again, that should hold it until we come back with the new skylight. Well, I returned home and looked up the parts I needed on Amazon. Previously, I paid $80 for this vent. The second time, a month later, I paid only $53 for the vent. And now I see that the vent is currently on sale for $32. So I'm going to buy 2 of them at this price and get the 3-year insurance policy.